Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Without podcast. Today, I believe it's episode 108, and I have an incredible guest for us, my new good friend from beautiful Philadelphia, home of the 76ers, and us, the Raptors. We have one of the most beautiful, chapters of the past few years in NBA. That last shot by Kawhi at the last minute, it broke your heart, but it was something that we will never forget. But you guys will have other chances to do that again. So I'll be cheering for the Phillies always. So my new good friend here, um, Elaine Sugar, wonderful lady, serial entrepreneur, and that's who's has multiple businesses. One of them being empowering children by teaching them the power of positive thinking and speaking. I love one principle she has on her website, which is the sugar principle, saying unforgettable good affirmations regularly. I really love that. That's when I said, wow, that's amazing. And she has a beautiful mission, which is supporting you in finding the best you. So we have a lot to cover here. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here, Payman.
Pleasure's all mine. So as I told you earlier before we went live, what I like to do on this podcast mostly is to look under your hood to see what's in your heart and have heart-to-heart conversation to get to know who's Elaine as a human being first and foremost. So tell us first, for people who don't know you, who is Elaine as a person and as a human being?
So, Elaine is one of the most fortunate people that you will ever meet, in that she was born into a family filled with love and two of the most phenomenal parents that I believe have ever walked the earth. So, when you have that type of foundation, when you're born into that type of a loving environment, it makes you, first of all, as a child, assume that everyone has the same thing. And then when you find out everybody does not, you're like, what? You don't have that? Now, it doesn't mean that life wasn't difficult. It doesn't mean there were not challenges, because I grew up in a very poor neighborhood. I grew up in a very drug infested neighborhood in the 70s and 80s. So, in those ways, somebody could look at it and say, wow, she grew up in a really rough neighborhood, which I did. But I tell people I grew up in one of the most wealthiest homes in the world because of the environment that was created by my parents. So it's really important to me that those of us who are around young children understand just how much of a huge impact the things that we do and the things that we say have on our children for the rest of their lives. So when people pay me compliments, sometimes I tell them, I can't take much credit. I came from good stock. I came from really good stock.
Absolutely. That's so key. And I can see that even though we just started talking just a few minutes, I can see you have a beautiful heart, rich in wisdom, and we're gonna unpack all of that in a moment. I love your story. So there's a lot we're gonna talk. So now tell us,
Sure.
what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? I am really happy when I've done something powerful, something positive, something that I'm proud of, and that thing had a dual benefit. I like mutually beneficial relationships. Anytime I win and the person on the other side can win at the same time, I think that is superb. That is like the height of my happiness.
I
That's
love that.
me.
I love that because for me, I don't even especially now, I don't look for win-win because win-win is not good
Mhm,
enough. I look for
mhm.
no-brainer. I want to make it
Ah,
a no-brainer for both parties. I mean, all parties
there
involved.
you
I love
go.
what you're saying because it's the same principle. Absolutely. Now, what makes you smile?
You know, that look on a child's face when
Mm,
they start out listening to you, or either they're not listening to you and you have to fight to get their attention. You get their attention, you give them a powerful tool or resource, and that look on their face when they got it. I
oh yeah.
love that. Yes. That's pretty high up there. Um, and then on a less serious note, I like corny jokes.
Who
I like
doesn't?
I love a clean, corny joke.
Yes.
Tell me one and I'll share it with a friend.
That's very important because I read an article a couple of months ago that said was a doctor talking saying that if every doctor in the world were to prescribe 1 hour of mandatory smiling and laughing to every
Ah,
person on this planet within 30 days, 95% of all the ailments and problems would disappear because the root cause of all our problems, especially health wise and even mental, is all because of stress. And when you smile, you
yes,
cannot be stressed.
that is exactly right. Even and the power of it is it's even when it's a fake smile, people
Mm,
don't realize that a fake smile actually causes chemicals that are good for you to be released in your body. So you can even fake it. And there's not a whole lot of times when you can fake things, but you can actually fake that.
yeah, and to smiling is like working out because just for you to smile, do you know how many muscles have to move and all that? I think it's like what, almost
Ah.
200 muscles. It's mind
Mm-hmm.
blowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the same thing with affirmations and why I base my company and my strategy in working with children around teaching them to use affirmations because them saying positive things to themselves, it's actually having that mental but also chemical effect on them. And
Totally.
even if they don't believe it yet, just teaching them to say it to start is healthy. It has benefits.
Absolutely. And also one last thing I want to add about smiling is that smiling is
Mhm.
the best business card. When you greet
Ah.
someone, we've all been to events, conferences, especially when I was living in Hong Kong and China. I used to attend
Mhm,
all of these, conferences on e-commerce.
mhm,
And every day at the end of the day, I would end up with a bunch of business card. I had no idea what it was for. So one day
mhm.
I did a test. It was a 3-day conference. The first day I went with my business card, and at the end of the day, I had no idea who were the people I got the business card. The second day I went, I didn't take any business card with me. So I just went and greeted people. Hey, how are you? With the biggest
Uh-huh.
smile I can give them. And they were like, wow. And I would ask them, instead of saying, how are you? I would say, how happy are you today? And they would be taken aback because that's a question you don't get to hear people asking you. And when you say that, they
Mhm.
would remember you. And when I did get a business card, I would take a business card and I would take a selfie with them. So and then when they message me, I would send them back the text, the picture. They
Oh,
would
I
they
like
would
it.
remember you forever. So again, the
Yeah.
smile is the most powerful, business card that opens hearts and opens doors. I mean, it's
Yes, it
powerful.
does. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, awesome. Now on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Hmm, 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 hmm. What makes me sad is people who intentionally hurt other people. There is intent, there's energy put behind it, there's a whole effort.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
amazed by it. I'm like, are we all a part of the same human race, or are some of us made of something different and we're all just walking here together? Like, it not only angers me, but it puzzles me. And I just wonder, I'm believing we're all connected. But
totally.
then I pause sometimes and I wonder, and I'm like, what is that person made of?
Mhm.
It was a conversation I was having not long ago with one of my friends. And, I was telling them, listen, I'm just like the next person. If you told me that, you could give me a huge house overlooking the ocean and I could walk out in the morning and have this gorgeous view of the beach, and I could fly to Hawaii anytime I want to on a private jet, all of that appeals to me. But I need to understand what I have to do in order to get that, and it has to align with my value system.
Totally.
So even though I would love that house on the beach, there's certain things that people might do to get that house that I'm not going to be willing to do. It's not worth it to me. and I just, it's not even a question. So it just, I can really get angry, sad. I think that's my answer all in one. And they're just, when you turn on the news, you can hear about,
Oh yeah,
the things that people have done, some of the abuses, and I just, it makes me wonder.
absolutely.
There's a lot of days when I'm all warm and saying we're all one and connected, and then there are days where I'm like, where did these people come from, and what are they made out of?
Totally. That's why I have stopped, watching the news for the past, I don't know how many years, because it's only going to make you sad, upset, and boil your blood
Mm-hmm.
for things you have absolutely no control over.
No
And I read
control.
and I heard someone wise once told me that if something is important, you will hear about it. So you don't have to be glued to the TV all the time. So instead,
Mm-hmm.
focus on what you can control, what really matters to you, your health, your business, your family, your
Mm-hmm.
fitness, your hobbies. I mean, there's already enough problems. Don't focus on more problem, because if you focus on more problem, it's going to create, it's a, you know, vicious circle of, fear and negativity. So instead, just focus on
Yes.
being happy, smiling as much as you can, do things that
Mm-hmm.
matter to you, be with the people
Mm-hmm.
that matter, because that's what this life is all about.
Yeah, you make a good point with that. My TV went out about 30 days ago. And I said, let me just see what life is like without it, because it's been a while. And I got to tell you, other than following the stock market, if I continue to invest that way, I'm thinking I'm not sure that I'm going to replace it. I
Yeah,
haven't made the decision yet, but it is mentally free, and it's been a nice change. And then you can also realize that there's so much of the news when it's being delivered, no matter whose point of view it's coming from, sensationalized to pull that energy from you and addict you to keep sitting there. So it's not even the pure
yeah,
information in the story, all
totally.
this.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's why even me, when I turn on the TV, it's only to watch a good sport game, football, tennis, Formula One, whatever, a documentary. I
Mm-hmm.
love watching travel videos on YouTube. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
cable TV at home. Nobody watches that. It's all,
Yeah.
everything you want, you have it on YouTube, online. If you're watching
Mm-hmm.
specific sports, you can subscribe to those directly and watch what you want on demand,
That's right.
and I
Yeah.
and I love watching, old classic movies. I don't really like the current movies because I don't like the agendas they have. I prefer more the old classic. They're more
Mm-hmm.
wholesome, more there's less, bad language in it and less,
Mm-hmm.
negative things on it. I prefer more the old like 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, movies are much more wholesome. And yes,
Uh-huh.
I haven't watched the news. It's funny because after coming back from Hong Kong here in Canada, a lot of my friends in Hong Kong ask me, "So what's going on in Canada? Are you following?" I have no idea, and I don't give a damn. You know, they're the ones telling me what's going on sometimes because
Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I really get into that place. And this experiment, the last 30 days, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Now, tell us what scares you.
Don't judge me.
Oh, like that.
Scare is not even the word. It's terrified.
Mm,
Cats.
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 Oh, okay.
See, you're judging a little bit, aren't you?
I'm just trying to ask you to explore
So, for whatever reason, excuse me, and
is
I'm really thinking about talking to someone about maybe I need to go under hypnosis to get to the bottom of it. So here's the thing. This is so weird. My friends think this is the strangest thing.
mm,
If you put a lion in the room with me and a cat, a regular house cat in the room with me, and you guaranteed me that neither one of them would scratch me, bite me,
oh,
harm me in any way, I would tell you I would prefer to be in the room with the lion.
oh wow.
I don't know what it is. People ask me, did something happen? Were you attacked by a cat? By a cat as a child? No, my family never. I'm terrified of a house cat. It's hard for me if a house cat pops on the news, or on a commercial, I turn my head away. But a lion, I can go to the zoo. I can look at them. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. Don't ask me what the difference is. I can't explain it. But when you ask me what scares me, that comes to mind first. And then being an entrepreneur, there are a lot of scary things about
Oh
it.
yeah,
It's not so scary that I don't move forward. But having been in the corporate world for the past 26 years, and
amazing.
so far I've um started businesses outside, but I had a mainstream of incomes corporate, and the entrepreneurial piece was something that was done on the side. So to sit here and contemplate and come up with a plan to go all in, yeah, there are some fears in that. It's not as
Uh,
scary as a cat, but there's some fear.
so if anyone were to come show up at your house
Mhm.
or anywhere with a cat, you're gonna kick him out.
I will talk to them through, as long as they
Mhm.
don't hold the cat up to the peephole where I can see the cat. I will talk to them through the door.
Okay. How about dogs?
Oh, I don't mind dogs.
Okay.
I don't love the big,
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Rockwilders and things like that. But no, but I'm terrified of cats.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. Now, what would you say is your personal superpower? I know you're blessed to have many
My per-
superpowers. What would you say is your number one? The one that everyone knows that hey, she's your girl. She's your person.
Yeah, so it's definitely customer service. And I started to choose working with children over that, but I have not done that for as long. I've done that for about 10 years. With customer service, I've been in that business for 25 years, and I am your girl. I love making things right. I like the challenge of, this is a tough situation. We need to straighten this out for the customer. It's time sensitive. I love that whole aspect of making sure that customers get taken care of.
I love that.
That's me. I'm your girl.
Love that. Love that. Now, you like traveling?
I do. I have not traveled outside of the US, but I love traveling. I love to get away.
What was the very first place you traveled to? Do you remember?
Hmm. Was probably, you mean as an adult or as a child?
Anything you want. You're the star of the show.
I gotta
You
say,
take it wherever
oh,
you
look
want.
at that. I can't remember the first place that I went out of town, but the first trip I probably remember is just going from Jacksonville, Florida to Fort Lauderdale, which was probably about a 5-hour car ride, a family
Okay.
vacation.
All right. Now let me take you on a different type of trip, a trip down
Hmm.
memory line. Remember when you were a
Okay.
young girl, everyone
Yes.
around you, family, parents, relatives, friend asking you, Elaine, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
Back then, my answer was a doctor.
Wow.
And then I found out that they have to see blood. And I'm like, well, who wants to do
I was the same. I faint when I see blood. My mother wanted me to be a doctor, but as soon as I see a needle or blood, I pass out.
Yeah, see, so it wasn't a good fit, but that was my first thought. I go
Okay.
around saying I'm going to be a doctor.
All right. So, what was your favorite subject in school when you were a young student?
I loved debate. I
Oh,
loved it. A lot of my fellow students were afraid to get up in front of the class and give a speech. That was my thing. I love the challenge of thinking through different points. I love to debate. I could have spent all day in debate class. I like the
mm,
way it challenges it, and you have a certain amount of time to figure it out. Like, you can't sit there all day long, and you had to really focus, challenge yourself, and then stand up and make a persuasive argument. I love the art of the entire thing from start to finish.
awesome. And what was the one subject you could not stand?
Oh my gosh, probably algebra. Probably algebra.
Mm,
Geometry, I felt like that was the first time math made sense. I
Yes.
loved it. But algebra, yeah. I mean, I passed it, but definitely, yeah, algebra.
So you mentioned you loved debating and all that. So did you ever think about becoming a lawyer?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, my mom used to take me to this program for young lawyers, and they taught you how to prepare cases, and you
Hmm.
had coaches, and they even took us to California one year for a mock trial. You
Wow.
debated against all these other students who also want to be
Hmm.
uh
Lawyers?
lawyers. And
Yeah.
so, oh, we felt so important. Here we are, all these children, and we have all our briefcases, and we get and they had it all in a real courtroom in California. And believe it or not, you're the first time I've ever shared this publicly. I
Wow.
got us disqualified from the competition.
What happened?
They told me, they said, on one of our breaks, they said, Elaine, we know you're following the script, but when they're cross-examining you, kind of make it hard for them, like, because we don't want them to win, so don't just make it easy for them when they're cross-examining you. So the next time I went in, and I got really creative, and I didn't say anything that wasn't in the script, but I added some stuff to the situation, and it threw the other team off so bad they went and complained, and they said she was so far out of the script that we didn't know how to respond, and we couldn't handle it, and it wasn't fair. So I didn't say anything that wasn't true, but I just added to make it more challenging. Like they told me, well, the L'Oreal's would say, good job, let's go and eat pizza. And we left and went somewhere and got something.
So you found out the tremendous power of thinking outside the box at an early age, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's
That
amazing.
was a
Now,
lot of fun.
oh yeah. What was your very first job?
My first job, I worked in the cafeteria at college,
Mm.
and you would come through the lunch line, and I would give you extra potatoes if you were my friend, and I got to eat free.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
by very fast you became, I mean, every kid became friends with you, eh?
Oh yeah, you get so popular. Everybody speaks to you coming through the lunch line, and then you don't have to worry about food.
Hey Elaine, you're my best friend, right? How are you
That's
today?
right. Very popular.
That's awesome. Now, what was you mentioned that you also are a serial entrepreneur? Just
Oh, you know what? I need to correct that. Before
Mm.
I worked in college at the school cafeteria, I worked at a pizza place called Rocky Rococo.
Oh
That's right.
wow,
I forgot about that.
I
Pizza
like
shop in the mall. That was fun.
I like the name. What's the name of it again?
It was called Rocky Rococo.
Wow,
I
very
don't even
catchy.
know where
Yeah.
the name came from, but yeah, I forgot about that.
Did they make you stand outside and say "Welcome to Rocky Cocos" 10 times in a row and fast and
No,
fast?
it was like one of those malls where you had all these different stores in a food court,
Yeah.
and we were just at one of those slots in a
Okay.
food court, and people would just walk up and go and sit like in a common area where they had everybody eating.
Awesome. Now let's move forward from the time you left school to now. How would you describe your path? Would you say as soon as you got into one lane was pretty much straightforward, smooth sailing? Was it like turns and twists, ups and down like a roller coaster?
It was pretty much smooth sailing because I started with the bank pretty shortly after I graduated from college.
Hmm.
And I mean, we went through some mergers that made it rocky, but it wasn't a career change,
Okay.
or, change in different companies. I was with the same company for 26 years. So there wasn't a whole lot of change that way. It's just in the financial industry, you have mergers and things that get your attention, so to speak.
Mm. So then now after that transition into from corporate to business, what took you, what made you make the jump into being your own boss?
I started dibbling my toe because some members of my family were talking about investing in real estate.
Mm.
And I thought that was really fascinating idea, um, to create some additional income and to see what it's like to have your own business. And that's really where it started. So I didn't have to take a big jump. It was just like put your toe in here, and it
Mhm.
was family. So there was that safety net
Sure.
of doing it not alone. And then as I did that for several years, then I started Kids More Sugar, which, like you said, the sugar is saying unforgettable good affirmations regularly. And the products that I roll out and the programs that I teach all are around that strategy of making sure children understand how much power there is and what they think of themselves and what they say to themselves about themselves. So I ventured into that because I just had this passion for working with children from my years of experience facilitating children's programs. So if you're going to start a business on your own, it may as well be your biggest passion, right?
Totally. Yeah, it'll be something you
Yeah.
love, enjoy. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then
Love.
the last transition, the nonprofit organization that I started about 6 months ago is M.A.P.S Global Events, and that is the organization that actually hosts events and provides mental wellness resources to the public, but at the same time has the dual purpose of promoting small business owners who do the work. So everything we do has that dual mission in mind because, like you were saying earlier, there's something about helping other entrepreneurs. And I felt like this work is so important. And we were hearing on the news that people needed help with mental wellness, adults and children. And I was meeting all these wonderful people on Clubhouse and through other social media who were so committed and so passionate, but with the COVID shutdowns and everything, were concerned about their ability to financially continue to be able to do the work they loved. And I'm thinking, it's crazy right now to have people who are knowledgeable, people who are passionate, their heart is in this work, they're desperate to do this work, and they're on one side of the street, and across the street on the other side you have people crying out for the mental wellness services that they're offering. So I'm thinking that's insane, and there
Mhm.
must be a way to marry these two. So I thought that big part of the problem might have been that a lot of small business owners who do this work don't have the huge marketing budget. So it's about making the world know, hey, here's what this group can offer you. And there's more than just one methodology here. So we had a variety of methodologies. Some people don't even know that energy healing exists. They don't know that sound healing exists. There's so many other things that there are a lot of people that are not aware of that can be healers for us, that can help us with some of the stress that we're dealing with. So the idea behind the company was to bring together small business experts, holistic approach to this on matters all across a huge range, and offer advice, and at the same time just show the world what talented, knowledgeable, passionate people these small business owners are. And then we offered this week-long event to the public so that they can have a place to come learn, explore, listen, and just be enlightened and uplifted. So that's what we did in September, and that was how this happened. And it wasn't a part of the plan at all. If you had told me 2 years ago that I was going to be leading a global mental wellness event, I would have told you, you are absolutely crazy.
Wow.
But it was laid on my heart because I kept looking at the news and I kept meeting wonderful people. And I've never led a mental wellness event before in my life, but it just made sense to me. People say, well, why did you do it? I tell them it was laid on my heart. If you look at my LinkedIn profile, it's probably not going to make sense, but it's what was laid on my heart. And it ended up being one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life. So we'll be doing it every year now.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So it's what, every September?
Every September, yes. And it's a 7-day event, and we make it um, a full, well-rounded event. So we start with a music concert on the first day.
Wow.
Yeah, we had just musicians singing wonderful, uplifting, positive music. And then we also had several people who were brave enough and kind enough to share their stories of struggles and overcoming some challenges with mental wellness. So we had a nice show. And that first day was September 12th, which in the US is already declared as the National Day of Encouragement. So
Oh,
it was a
wow.
very deliberate to select that date to
Mhm.
start. And then September 13th is Positive Thinking Day.
Wow, good to know. So this event, is it, I guess, in person or online or both?
So we hope to have some things online going forward, but the first one was all virtual, and this one in 2022 is going to be all virtual. But going forward, we look to have some type of hybrid model. But we had over 213 presenters, and we had
Wow.
presentations Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night, Eastern Standard Time. So
Wow.
you could just come in at any point, totally free to the public, and just get poured into, get uplifted, get enlightened. So this is going to become an annual event, and we'll start to do some smaller events, and we're doing some other things to spotlight small business owners who do this work, because we want them to continue to do it. I think the world has done, especially in the US, has done a lot of confessing that we realize that we need to take better care of small business
Oh
owners.
yeah.
But I still felt like during the pandemic, even though we were saying we were struggling with this mentally and we didn't know how to help our children with what they were feeling and experiencing mentally, when we were saying we realized how important the small business owner is, I still didn't think they were envisioning people who do mental wellness work. So a lot of the programs and things that they rolled out that didn't apply maybe to that person that does yoga from their house online. Do you know what I'm saying? So it
Oh
was
yeah.
just, yeah, something's missing here. We're talking about all this stuff, but it's just not coming together for some reason, and I don't
Mm,
get it. So why don't we do something about this? And and
absolutely.
and that's how it got started.
Love it. So would you say that this event is mainly geared for small businesses in the US or North America or worldwide?
No, this is global. As a matter
Okay.
of fact, I would
Beautiful.
say for the first, probably the first 4 months, 3 to 4 months, when we were talking to presenters and getting the lineup ready, most of the presenters probably started out being not in the US,
Oh wow.
because I started reaching out to people that I was networking with through Clubhouse, which is an audio
Mm-hmm.
app, social media, and other online and other networking. And during the COVID shutdown, a lot of your networking was global. So this was always a global event. So we have people from all around the world participating in this. And that's what I think made it so powerful.
So what were most of these presenters talking about? About things related to health and wellness or?
Yes, we did a very holistic approach. So we
Mm.
had, you know, yoga instructors, we had meditation instructors, um, people who are certified in neuro linguistic programming, we had financial experts, relationship experts, people talking about drug addiction, domestic violence. It covered everything. And on that Saturday, the last day of the event, we still had adult presentations running all day, but then we ran rooms for children where we had educational, engaging, you know, online events and activities for children. And that was a lot of fun.
Amazing. How many people?
Emotional intelligence games and things of that nature.
Yeah, wow. Do you know roughly how many people attended the event in terms of attendees?
I do not, but I'm going to venture to say our first year, we probably had somewhere between 500 to 700.
Wow.
And people could just come and go as they wanted to on Zoom.
Was it
come
a
and
free
join a
event or was it a
concert.
paid event?
The whole thing was free. So
Okay.
as we move forward, our goal for M.A.P.S Global Events is to have our membership increase significantly so that we can attract sponsors, so that we would not have to charge the presenters anything or the general public.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. So we're looking to significantly increase our membership. This started out just as an event last year. I wasn't intending to start a nonprofit organization, but as we got into it, it started to make sense to just establish it. And people were already asking for it to be something that happens each year. So that's what we did. We went ahead and established a nonprofit organization, and now we're going to build that membership and get the word out, because we don't want it to cost anyone anything to be a part of it.
Amazing. Wow. Love that. Love that. Let me know for the next one. Just before, and if you want me to help you with by bringing you on the podcast to
A-
help promote it,
Absolutely.
I would be very happy to do so because I'm
I
all
would
for
love it,
helping.
because we wanted to get out to the world. We did
Mm,
this, and I will tell you, one of the most powerful things that's ever happened to me in my life was pulling this together,
mm.
because I had to reach out to individuals, explain the vision, get them to their buy-in so that they would help us, pull this together. And when you spend multiple hours a day speaking with people who have devoted their lives to studying and helping other people, the energy that you draw from that,
Oh yeah.
and then when they buy in and say, yes, I love this, let's do it, what can I do? It, it was the most exhausting thing I've ever done in my life, but it was the most empowering
Oh
experience.
yes.
And it was a couple of months before the event actually was planned. And I was talking to someone and I said, you know what? This event has not happened yet. I said, and I have already shifted as a person just from collaborating with people who have such positive energy and who care so much for other people.
Wow.
And there would be these moments where I would sit in my office and I'm like, what in the world made you think that you could host a global mental wellness event? Like,
Wow.
this isn't your background. You don't know how to do all this stuff. And I'm like, but I've always said I believe in synergy. And
Yes.
and that's how I believe this would come together. I just believed that people would show up and that they would fill in all of the spaces we need filled. And I can tell you that that's what happened. The word started getting out, people started reaching out to me, and the next thing you know, we have a booked agenda. Like, we
Totally.
have all our slots accounted for and we're ready to go. So it was so powerful. And so now we have a nonprofit and we need to grow the membership, because we want these small business owners to keep doing what they are doing. We want the world to know how fantastic they are.
Absolutely. You know, when you put yourself out there with good intention, the universe and God bring you the right key, the right people in ways that defy any logic. And
Yes.
it's just like a miracle I've
Yes.
seen in my life. And it's just like they say, don't worry about the how, just get the why. And once
Yes.
you have the why, the how is going to be figured out by themselves, by
And
yourself.
I can tell you, I would be a complete fraud if I told you that I understood the how. I
Oh,
had
yeah.
no idea how, and it was
Was that
so
your first
funny.
event?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, absolutely. And people told me, they said, a lot of people would start out for the first time with like a 1-day event, and the more experienced
But
people
you went
would do
all
like
in
a,
for the big.
a 3-day event. They said, but
Wow.
nobody's really doing a 7-day event. You know what the driving reason for that was? The longer we have this, the more exposure we can give these small business owners, the
Totally.
more people we will be able to include.
Wow.
And then there's more of an opportunity that someone out there is going to tune in and get something they need from the program.
Wow.
So we went all in. We went all
That's the way
in.
to go. That's the way to go. Go big or go home. Absolutely love that.
Yes. And so now we're going big with this organization. I mean, we
So
want this to grow. It's free. We want everyone to go to the website and sign up. We just shared with
what is the
our
website? The address?
it's MAPS, M.A.P.S, MAPS Global
Okay.
Events.com.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll
and MAP stands for Mental Wellness Affirmations and Positivity Support, because the organization is about um lifelong support. You know, we want to have multiple things happening throughout the month, every month, where people can stay connected. Because sometimes people go to a class or they go to an event and they're motivated and they're determined, and then you go back to life and somehow you can kind of lose it. So, what we're working on building is a lifelong connection, a place where you always have support. And that's what it's about. Again, anytime we have an event and we can give exposure to a small business owner who's a mental wellness expert in some holistic capacity, whatever it is, it could be finance, it could be business, because all of that has, you know, a lot of stress associated with it. So it's not just what you might traditionally think of as mental wellness. And our other point was, it's not about a pool of people who've been diagnosed with some type of illness. It's about every human being realizing that how we physically have to take care of ourselves,
Mhm.
we mentally have to take care of ourselves.
Totally.
And that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Now tell us, you went all in the first ever. You did a 3-day event. So how are you gonna outdo yourself for the next one? What's
No, we had a 7-day
oh
event.
7? My bad. Sorry. So you did.
7 days.
So what's next? This is gonna be like what, 2 week, 1 month event? Tell us.
No, so now what we're doing is we're putting things in place so that we can have something happening every month, whether it's just
Oh wow.
networking meetings with partners, it's blog articles, it's Facebook, it may be some smaller Zoom call events. We're building that out now. Some of the activities have already started. And then there are some that we are working on. So, but the week-long event will always be the longest one, and we'll always have that, having multiple things. Like, we loved the concert, we loved ending it with the Children's Day.
Mhm.
We did a 30-day challenge during the event. So that Thursday, we rolled out a 30-day challenge, and we had a wonderful partner, Cred, who runs 30-day challenges, 60-day on up to, I can't remember what number, but they let us use their app, they use their technology, and they also sponsored us. So we asked everyone to do 3 things for 30 days. You had to give yourself a hug every day, some
Oh wow.
self-appreciation, right?
Love that.
You had to do something kind for someone else, and it wasn't about money or anything major. It could be something small. And then the third thing was to learn something new. And in the app, they actually sent you information related to mental wellness. So you didn't even have to go off and find something new on your own. So it was about helping you just well-rounded mental wellness, taking care of yourself, taking care of each other by doing something kind, and then continuing to learn and grow. And every day that we had people complete their activities, and for every person that signed up for the challenge, our sponsor provided clean water access to a group of children in Tanzania. So we got to
Love that.
pick what we wanted to support, and
Wow,
that's
love
what
that.
the planning team selected. And so we ended up providing 438 days of clean water
Wow.
access. So
God bless you,
yeah,
sister. That's what I love, because that's what this is all about doing good. We don't need to
yes,
make money. Let's
yes,
make money in a way that's impactful, meaningful. Like
yes,
if each and every single business were to just do a little bit in
yes.
a cause that's dear to their heart, before long
Hmm.
we can all create a ripple effect that's
That's
unstoppable
right.
around the world. I really love
That's
that. God
right.
bless you for that. Absolutely love that.
Yes. You know what? If you could, I was telling people, the presenters in our Facebook group, I'm like, I'm out meeting people and you all aren't getting to meet everybody. So
Mhm.
just trust me when I tell you that there are some powerful people in our group. The energy, the sincerity, uh, it just came together so beautifully. And the technology company that provided the 30-day challenge, they did everything for us. We didn't have
Wow.
to pay for a thing. So that's the thing about synergy. And early on, the gentleman who offered to do that 30-day challenge for us from Cred, he said to me, he said, you know, as you're building this event, everybody won't understand it and they won't come along. Don't focus on those people. Don't, spend a whole lot of time trying to convince them, because that's not your tribe. He said, when things come together like this, you want the people whose energy is drawn to the vision. Those are the only people that you want to be a part of this. So if somebody doesn't get it, or if it's too hard, let it go. And that
Totally.
was some of the best advice. And the people who got it. And it was amazing. I absolutely changed as a human being for the better. And now I have friends all over the world. I literally have people say, if you ever come to this country, you have a place to stay.
Isn't that the greatest reward of all?
Yes, it was beautiful. So now it's so funny. We're kind of doing things backwards. Most people build a company and then they have an event. Well, I wasn't planning on building a company. I wasn't even planning on having an event.
Love that.
And
Wow.
you've met Roger Burnley, right?
Yes, I had him on a podcast. Yes.
Roger Burnley is such a beautiful
He's
soul.
amazing. Yes.
And I was talking to him early on. He was one of my presenters. He
Wow.
sang at the opening concert. We all need somebody to lean
He's got
on.
a beautiful voice.
Yes, yes. So, but I was talking to him and I didn't know him. This was my first time meeting him. It was a Zoom call. So I was going to meet him, introduce myself, tell him about the vision, and ask him to be a presenter. And I was so used to talking to people, and they would look at my LinkedIn profile and see my career with the bank, and they didn't see a background in mental wellness. So I just got used to explaining to people, how is it that I'm going to lead this event and this isn't my background? So I started out explaining to him, because I kind of got a routine down, right? And I'm just talking and talking. And he stopped me and he said, Elaine, you don't have to explain to me why you're doing what you're doing. He said, it's what you were called to do. And I
Yes.
understand that. He said, and
Absolutely.
as a matter of fact, you couldn't stop doing it if you wanted to.
That's
So
it.
that's the whole thing in a nutshell. And that is it. This was
Love that.
never a part of my plan. It's what was laid on my heart. And I went out and I shared the vision with other people. And that's how it came together. And I mean, people came together from around the world. I tell people it's so underestimating what was done if you just say Elaine pulled together this event. No, what's special about it is group of people came together around the world to do
Teamwork.
this.
Yes.
Yes, and I was telling a group I was talking to, and I was asking for presenters, and I said, one day our children and grandchildren are going to read about the COVID pandemic, and they're going to read about the stress and the strain that came along with it. And there's going to be a group of us that are going to be able to say that we came together to offer some help to people around the world. And that's what this is.
Absolutely. Now, looking back at everything that happened in your life so far, would you say that everything that you went through and you overcame everything you did, all of that were just one stepping stone over the other to prepare you for your biggest showdown, your Super Bowl, which was this event, this the path you're
Yes.
doing now?
Yeah, I can look back now and see how, having this experience helped prepare me for this. I got to tell you, working earlier in my career with teenagers,
Hmm.
and facilitating children's programs after school, and you having to stand there and teach when they have a look on their face like you're boring them. There is something about that that can toughen you up, and
Oh,
it just
yes.
teaches you to keep on, because this was an after school program that I was teaching. So children had been in school all day, and then they would come to the gym where I was teaching. You could be outside with your friends and have total freedom. You come in the room with Miss Sugar and you're going to have some rules, and she's going to want to teach you about self-esteem building and all these different things. So, you had to stand up there and fight to get their
Oh,
attention, and then
yes.
fight to keep it. So, having to, talk to some people about a vision and having them kind of look at me like spacey eyed and like, this lady is crazy, and I could just keep moving like those kids. They prepared me. They prepared me.
Oh, yeah. Getting and keeping the attention of teenagers is not easy. I can speak from experience
No.
because I worked as a football coach in China, and
Hmm.
wasn't easy to get the attention of these people, even doing something as fun as football, soccer.
Yes.
It's not easy at all. Kudos for you to do that, and a thing that is as abstract as self-esteem and things. Absolutely amazing. You're
Yes.
doing God's will on this planet, so keep shining your light, keep blessing the world with your presence. I'm super happy to have connected with you because it's all about this. I love connecting with incredible people, and I can say that you're truly you're a genuine, authentic leader with a heart. So keep shining your
Well,
light.
thank you so much. And I appreciate you creating a space and identifying the type of work that I'm doing as valuable and something
Oh,
worthy
yes.
to be highlighted and help me get the word out. So I appreciate you finding value in this. I really do.
Absolutely. That's the least I can do. Pleasure's all mine. We can do an entire show just talking about what this beautiful organization means to you and what impact is having on the world. But let's move
I
forward now.
appreciate that.
You said that you're a multi serial entrepreneur. You also have a business relating to kids. Tell us about the sugar, and
Sure,
how you're
sure.
helping the children.
Yes. So with Kids More Sugar, it started during the pandemic. And again, earlier in my career, I used to facilitate children's programs. And I just got so caught up in leadership positions in the corporate world, I didn't really have time to volunteer. So, like a lot of people during the pandemic, it was a time of reflection. And I said, whoa, your passion for working with children is way over here, and you've been spending the last few years of your life way over here. It's all disconnected. So, what are you going to do? And I spent some time during the pandemic studying, researching how you build, children up. At the time, the place where I used to volunteer was closed because of the COVID shutdown. So I said, what can I do? I want to start working with children. What can I do? So I did two things. I wrote a set of children's coloring storybooks called Cell Phone Sir Sugar. And they are all of these different situations, everyday situations that children encounter. But in the book, it teaches you, reinforces values like teamwork, caring for others, perseverance. It also introduces the idea to children of being inventors, creating things for themselves. Also, the idea of being entrepreneurs. So, all these different values are mixed into the coloring books, but they're fun. Uh, but they also have a challenge in all of them. And when they have this challenge, there's an affirmation that runs through the coloring books. So it's just modeling that behavior of, even when things aren't going the way you want them to go, remember to stay positive, remember to have hope, remember to speak positive things to yourself. So they model that. So the coloring books are for children anywhere from 5 to 10. And I always like to ask parents to read the books with children first, and they're coloring storybooks. So when you finish reading them together, you can ensure that they really understood the lessons in them. There's some Q&A documents that I have on my website called Conversation Starters. You don't even have to do the work yourself. You can download those, and and then once you're finished, making sure you've read it together and they understood, it's a coloring book. So this way they stay in the space with the lessons even longer by it being a coloring book. And then I started an online friends program, a free program. And once a month, it's called a Pop of Positivity. And the children can just come online and tell me something they've done that they're proud of. And I
Wow.
wear a really silly, crazy looking hat. and I have noise makers and all these things. And again, it's just that pop of positivity. You can count on it. Whatever it is you're proud of that you did, that you want to hop on and share with me, then that's what we do. And I love that call. And I was really struggling to even get children's attention to hop on that call because they were going to online school, and the parents were also drained with being on the computer. So I ran a couple of contests, and that was really popular. I asked
Oh, yes.
children to color one of the pages um, from my website and write something positive about themselves. And they sent me that. And I sent them a
Wow.
winter scarf with their initials on it, right? We're establishing relationship. And then I ran a second contest to ask them what they want to be when they grow up. And somebody said, well, they're too young at that age. They think about that when they get older. I said, oh no, they
No,
start
no, no.
dreaming when
Oh,
they're
yes.
that young. And if they're not dreaming, I'm going to make them dream.
Oh,
But
yes.
the answers that they turned in as far as what they want to be when they grow up, there is such a wide range in what they sent in. I enjoyed reading it so much. So when in the second contest, I sent them a little robot that records what you say. And I told the parents, let them record some affirmations, them saying something positive to themselves, and let them get used to hearing that back. So that was the prize for the second contest. And then once it was over, I was like, their coloring pages were so beautiful. I'm like, what do I do with these now? So I went on YouTube and figured out how you animate PowerPoints. And I scanned them into PowerPoint and I animated them and I made them videos. So I put some music to them, and now we have this thing that their page is a part of. And I'm thinking that's going to make them feel really important to be a part of a video and see their page in it. The
Wow.
win was I was hearing from parents, wow, they looked and learned from the other children. Like it wasn't just about, oh, there's my page. That's the one I made. It was about, oh, look at what that child wants to be in. Maybe I'll think about that. Or look at how I like how they colored their page. I just wasn't expecting that admiration they would have had for each other's work and how the other children's answers impacted them. So yeah, so it was a tough gig promoting and getting attention during the shutdown, but yeah, it
That's
worked out
amazing.
well.
That's amazing. Wow. So tell us, share with us an example of the most inspiring, powerful transformation you've seen from one of the kids that you helped going to this program.
Yeah, I have sometimes they start out, so you never know what children have already been through.
Mm-hmm.
When you meet them, you also don't know what they're going through at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had these, I think they were two sisters and a cousin. So they were all
Mm-hmm.
three always together. And sometimes when you have people with you and you want to be the tough kids, right? You're really extra tough when it's three of you. So
Yeah.
they were some tough cookies. One of them one day even outright said something really disrespectful to me,
Oh, wow.
and I had to put her in her place. And I said, what do I do? Do I put them out of the program? What do I do? And then somebody was talking to me and they said, they've probably been put out of so many things. So if you can just stick with it,
Yes.
and yeah, just stick with it and just let them know the rules are the rules. And so I put my rules down, but what I did was I was strategic, and I had something very engaging happening every third class was my strategy. So I have these certain lessons that I want to teach them, but maybe I'll have a trip every third class, or maybe we'll have pizza, or maybe, and I put that into the curriculum that would make you want to stay, because I'm competing with, they could just after school stay outside. This
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a required program.
Oh,
So that
okay.
was my strategy. And that got their attention. And then I said, always at the end, we're going to have a graduation, and we're going to invite parents and people from the neighborhood, and they can come see your projects, what you worked on during the semester. So we always ended with this really big thing. And they stuck with it. They softened up. You could see the change in them. And then one day we were getting ready for an ending program, and I asked one of these three girls who were tough girls to pass me something. And she said, "Okay, mom." And I was so shocked. It's like, you've actually got me to this place. Not only am I here invested, but I've connected with you on a level that I'm calling you mom.
Wow, she called
Just
you
to see,
mom. Wow.
she called me mom.
Wow.
And I,
Was it the
I
same
was
girl that
so,
was being rude to you
yes,
initially?
yes,
Wow.
yes. And they were there helping me. I mean, they came from not just coming to class with these kind of disruptive attitudes to actually being there helping me prepare the stage and get ready. Like, they became helpers in the program.
Wow. That's so
Yes, they
beautiful.
actually yes. Yes. It wasn't always easy, but I gotta tell you, it's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life to say yes, I would teach that program.
Wow. Amazing. Now, is this program still going on?
Yeah, so they've changed a lot since COVID, and
Mhm.
I teach programs for them now, but like the last one I did about 3 months ago, I actually did it online, and it was
Mm.
a money management course
Oh,
for
wow.
teenagers.
That's amazing.
So they went to all online programs during COVID. They're just now starting to open back up, and I have to touch base with them. But it was really helpful to me because they adopted my positivity program, and they adopted the financial literacy program for teenagers. So now I don't have that weight of trying to market online to compete. They actually bring children from the organization. So reconnecting with them was a huge win for me.
No, absolutely. Wow. Listen, I love what you're doing. We can talk for we can do an entire show first on your organization, the maps, and then another one. But let's move forward, fly through, and to
Mhm.
finish, I would like to ask you some rapid fire questions about
Let's do it.
advices. So, what would
Okay.
you say has been so far the best piece of advice that you've received in your life?
Martin Luther King. My
Mm,
favorite quote from him, the measure, something to the effect of, the measure of a man is not where he stands in time of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of adversity. And
mm.
that's something that always reminds me to check myself, and at my lowest hour. All right, Elaine, what are you made of? This is what shows what you're really made of. So it's just been so impactful.
Absolutely. Wow. What would you say has been the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
Mhm. Not to have the MAPS event. That was not good advice, and I
Who do you
got
think
that
you
a lot.
are? You've never done that before.
Yes. Don't
Wow.
do that. It's too long. It's too many people. Don't
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, no, not good advice.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, for sure. Now imagine that you add a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with the 18-year-old Elaine. What would be the number one piece of advice you would give to her, knowing everything you know now?
Wow. I would explain to her that you don't have to talk to be heard. I'm an extreme extrovert. I love talking, and I had some people, I believe, who tried to teach me that in a way so that I would not dominate someone, or I would be cautious of people who are not as talkative, not as extroverted. And I think I think I thought they were deliberately trying to shut me down or tell me I didn't matter. And I don't think that's what they meant. And now, especially being a leader, you learn to understand that how you have to make sure you're looking out for different voices in the room. And sometimes you have to draw certain people out, and people process differently. I didn't have all of that in mind as 18-year-old. So if I could learn that lesson at 18 instead of when I was a little bit older, I think that could make a difference.
Wow. Now, would you say that the 18-year-old Elaine would listen to you?
You know, I I would have had to be straightforward, because I think that's why I missed it from some other people. It
Mhm.
wasn't directly explained to me. And so therefore, what I heard was, you're trying to tell me not to have my own voice, and I'm going to have my own voice because, I know I'm important. And I grew up in the age where they were telling you I am somebody and believe in yourself and you can be anything you want. And I'm like going after life. So I think you would have had to directly tell me. And I think people were trying to do it in an indirect way. And I think I missed the point.
Oh, yeah. Powerful indeed. Now, you mentioned you have your podcast, right?
Yes.
What's your podcast name again?
It's Empower Teen Self-Esteem. So
All
it's
right.
all for teenagers and their parents. We get experts on there, and we started to have teenagers on there.
Love that. Awesome. I'll definitely put that in the show note. Now, imagine that today on your podcast, you have the most amazing guest in the world, which is yourself. You're
Mhm.
interviewing yourself. What is the first
Mhm.
question you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. What is the first question that comes to your mind?
What was the thing that you did as a teenager that has helped you the most in life? And what did you do that hurt you the most in life as a teen?
And a short answers. What will be the answer to these two questions?
Wow. 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 That's wow. I had to give myself a two-parted question, huh? So I definitely think one of the more positive things I did as a teenager is maintaining the high respect and love and honor of my parents.
Mm,
Huge.
absolutely.
What a smart decision. Even though they were strict, I just felt they were strict, but I still felt like they were so honorable and they would do so much respect. And I made the right choice. Good there. Uh Probably something destructive. I told myself I had some negative self-talk going on about the way I look and not being beautiful and all of this stuff that I didn't need that. I would take that back.
And how did you change your story to overcome that?
It came with being around positive, wonderful people, some
Mm,
self-education, valuing self, that type of path.
absolutely. Love that. Now, the last question I want to ask you is one of my favorite questions is what is the smallest thing you've done that has had the biggest positive impact on both your life and your business? For me, it's been starting this podcast. What about you? And by small, I don't mean something
Probably,
small, just one thing that you've done that
yeah,
has had.
probably creating the sugar acronym
Oh,
that
yes.
people get what the business is about. Generally, they say they like it. I was a little concerned at first because sugar is, known to be something bad to consume. But I did it to honor my parents. And so I felt
Mhm.
like it would turn out all right in the end. And so the acronym worked out, but
Oh,
I
it
did
worked
it to
out
honor my parents.
amazingly, and you've honored them beautifully. Good job
Thank
on that.
you.
Now, one question I want to ask you that's the last one from me as a podcaster yourself. Do you have any tips for me to improve my podcast? I want you to give me tough love. Don't be nice and kind. Just tell me the truth. Anything that you can suggest for me to improve my podcast.
Wow. Mhm. And you want me to tell you right now?
Right now, right here, live.
Wow. Oh,
What can I do to improve and make the podcast better? Any suggestion, any advice is welcome.
oh my gosh. Wow. You stumped me. And I think feedback is a gift, and giving feedback is important. And nothing is coming to my mind right now because I totally, you know what? This might be really crazy and it might not even be in line with your personality. But I like those sound machines, and I bought one myself. And I think there are times when they can be funny and make weird sounds. And I bought one for myself to use with my children on my Papa Positivity call. And I've just been so busy, I haven't set it up yet. So I think when people have that, sometimes when, you ask a question and people are taking them, I don't know, I like that sound effect incorporated into shows. And I want to do it with my children to improve my own podcasts and interviews. So that came to mind for me because that's what I'm working on for myself. So I'll share that one with you if
Awesome.
it aligns.
I haven't heard of it. So send me the link to that. I will definitely have a look at that.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, it's helpful. Okay. I will
I'm
share it
I'm
with you.
I'm open-minded. I want to look at everything.
Okay. All right. Well, I will send you some information. I purchased an actual machine, but you
Okay.
can actually do it online. You
Okay.
can actually have it where it's downloaded on your computer and you can actually make some sounds and things. And I'm a big fan of that. I bought mine over 6 months ago and I haven't used it yet because I just need to set it up.
Wow, amazing. And what's the best way if someone wants to connect with you?
I am all over social media as Kids More Sugar. I'm also on M.A.P.S Global Events.com is our website. You can get a free membership there, which I encourage everyone who um, would like to please sign up for that because we want to grow that. I also have a website, kidsmoresugar.com. So I have a website for both the nonprofit mental wellness organization and Kids More Sugar. And then I'm also on all of the social media as Elaine Sugar, ELAINE.sugar, S-U.G.A.R.
Love that. Wow, that's amazing. Listen, it's been an absolute honor connecting with you, talking with you. I love your passion, your energy, powerful story, wonderful mission. As I told you earlier, you're doing God's work on this planet. Keep shining your light, keep blessing the world with your presence and your impact. Stay safe, stay awesome, my friend. God bless. We'll definitely keep in touch. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. I appreciate you having me.
Very welcome. Pleasure's all mine. Take care. Good night.
Bye-bye.